Hi guys, I'm very glad to be back. I'm Clara and I'm the owner of the Ink Path, which is this place you are. If you haven't met me before, I talk about books in English and in Spanish. You are obviously in an English video, so welcome back or welcome if you're new. If you like this video that I'm going to do, which is a review, you can give it a like and also you can subscribe if you want to see what else I have in store for you. But if you subscribe, don't forget to click the bell because YouTube does weird things sometimes and doesn't notify you when I'm actually uploading, just in case. I also leave you the social media down below, so don't forget to actually follow me there as well if you want more content. Having introduced myself, I only have to tell you what we are going to do today. Today we are going to talk about Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. So, today we are going to talk about Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Now, I am not an expert. I didn't study English literature, although I wish I had. So, my opinions that I'm going to expose here and the topics I'm going to treat are either or to mention here. Sorry, not to treat, to mention. The topics I'm going to mention here are actually my own opinion or matters that I know because I've read about or I've seen versions of. So we are going to start with Mary Shelley. Mary Shelley was a very important author, I believe, from the 19th century. She had a lot of relationship with other writers. Even her husband was actually the very famous poet Percy Bysshe Shelley, and she was involved with a lot of or in relation with a lot of other romantics writers and poets, and you can actually see that in her writing, but we will talk a little bit more about that in detail later on. I want to put here in up front that Mary Shelley is considered the mother of the science fiction category or science fiction genre. In Frankenstein, Mary Shelley presents us the scholar, the student Victor Frankenstein, who studies something very similar to what we will consider now, or we would consider now, medicine. And he explores several kind of theories in medicine, and he has this task of being able to create life from the death. And when he managed to do that, basically everything starts from there to be very, very wrongly. This story is how Victor explores that path of science and develops the experiments that lead to this creation of life, but also the aftermath of such creation. So in here we explore very, very morally kind of topics such as life, death, what means to be alive, or what means to give life to others, and if that makes us good, bad, and what kind of life does this new creature that we create have, and if we are responsible of that life or not. In this story we meet, as I said, Victor Frankenstein and a set of other characters, but I believe the main characters in here are Victor Frankenstein and his creature, the creature he created. And in terms of kind of character development, I feel very attached to the creature myself, but it's very funny to see how Victor changes from this kind of need of being renowned, need of being congratulated for different kind of scientific discoveries that he wants to make, and when he achieved those discoveries, he changes. He changes very abruptly. He follows moral codes that he didn't fall before. Alongside Victor, or in front of him I should say, we have the creature, who is the other main character in the story, and he is the result of the experiment done by Victor Frankenstein. The funny thing, or what I find kind of interesting about him, is that he is an adult man, I would say, but he behaves like a baby. He is considered a child, and it's very funny to see how this kind of almost a baby grown-up man is treated not in the way you would introduce someone to a society. So when we have children and we teach them how to behave and how to interact in our society, we do it with care and with patience, and this is not the kind of feelings that the creature encounters when he stumbles with our society. It's very heartbreaking to see with how he tries to be kind and open, and he expects to be loved, and because of how he is, which is very funny because he's never described other than being a massive, big guy, tall man, very very strong and so on, but his features are not always described. They were supposed to be around us, but it's nothing clear apart from that. And I find it very heartbreaking to see how he tries to be integrated or to actually talk with other humans, but he only gets to be expelled from that interactions. And it's very interesting to see also how through the creature we learn the theory, I believe, the theory or the sociological theory of the other. So in our society we have this kind of primary instinct to criticize or to be separated from others that are not like us, when instead of that, what we should be doing, better said, it's actually integrate them in our society and learn from them and try to teach them our ways as well, to make a more multicultural or a diverse society in the end. And this is not what happens here. Funny enough, I also find there's kind of tropes of mother and daughter, or father and son, better said, father and son dynamic in here, or at least it's how the monster sees Frankenstein. He was expecting love and care from his creator, and that's not exactly what he receives. And funny enough, or at least I found it curious, when Mary Shelley was reading this, she had lost a child, and I believe she was fantasizing with the idea of trying to kind of make her child, Clara, her daughter, make her alive again, which is basically what Victor does to the creature here. He creates a man out of the dead, or from the dead. So it's very interesting to see how the reality and the fantasy in this case overlap or are very very similar one to another. I don't know, I love this. I think the creature is basically steals the spotlight from Victor, and I was heartbroken because I mixed the reading of this story. I read it in paper with the book, but I also listened into it on audiobook, and there were some times in which I was literally crying because I was very, very heartbroken. Lastly, what I want to say is that I consider this story very special in the way it's written, because it's using a technique that I haven't actually explored before, which is having 3 stories combined into one. Because when we start the story, we meet a sailor, I think it was, and he encounters Victor, and then when Victor recovers because he's very, very ill, he tells his story that leads to the creature story, but you also listen the creature story, or at least bits of that, through the creature's voice, which is for me the best narrator of the 3. And the way she does it is kind of, you are slowly going to the center of the book, passing through all these through 3 narrators and 3 stories. But then when you finish it, all those 3 narrators go back to the beginning. They meet and they close the story. So it's almost like when you have this kind of Russian doll and you open it and you have a smaller one and then a smaller one. It's a little bit like that, but better intertwined and better weaved one with the other, so it actually clicks like a puzzle. The 3 of them combined the 3 arcs and stories in a kind of bigger picture one, and I love it. I just literally love it. If you haven't read it, you should. That's all I'm going to say. Well, this is it. This is my Frankenstein review, and I hope you really enjoy it. If you have read it, please, can you tell me what elements or aspect of the book you like the most and why? I would love to know your thoughts on the book if you want to say it in the comment section down below. See you next week. Bye.